I've said on many occasions it's time for the Albanese government to end the rhetoric and get on with action. Only at the end of last week, many were asking, where's Albo? At that stage, he had not held a formal media conference for a week. He was at a midnight oil gig at the Hordern Pavilion and had a photo opportunity with the Solomon Islands Prime Minister, who seems to walk on both sides of the street, China on one side and us on the other. The issue of repatriating the wives and children of ISIS members from Syria has significantly divided sections of the community. The Deputy Leader of the Federal Opposition, Susan Lee, is right when she said of the ISIS issue, and I quote, "This is not a question of compassion, it is a question of keeping Australians safe." She said the Prime Minister is completely missing in action on this issue. Matt Canavan is one of the smartest people in Australian politics, and he said, quote, "We've barely seen Mr Albanese since the Rabbitohs lost the preliminary final. Surely he can't be that upset. Where is he?" And while I find it difficult to give any political points to the New South Wales Liberal MP Alex Hawke, he did make a valid point when he said, quote, "I prefer Albo to be doing nothing. If he does the things he wants to, we will be in massive trouble," unquote. Well, it appears the central issue here commanding backroom attention within the Labor Party is the tax cuts, stage 3, which come into being in 2024. It's a pretty simple story. Labor in opposition voted for these tax cuts and in 2 election campaigns, 2019 and 2022, argued support for them. I said last week the Treasurer Jim Chalmers has caused trouble for the Labor Party on all of this, creating the impression that Labor might have to reverse the tax promise because of the state of the economy. An absurd point because, as I said, these cuts come into being in 2024. Albanese's been in the Parliament a long time. I'm sure he sensed that others were digging a hole for him and he wasn't going to fall into it. He seems to have made sure that at least one of the headlines today should say that Albanese has rejected any suggestion to overhaul the stage 3 tax cuts, but don't be fooled, the battle is not over. While the Prime Minister says today our position hasn't changed, that may be true, but nor has the debate within the Labor Party. And stage 3 tax cuts almost certainly have been kicked down the road until next year's May budget. It's interesting to note that the Prime Minister's own electorate of Graindler is ranked 4th in the nation for the highest percentage of workers earning more than $104,000 a year. Given that the stage 3 tax cuts improve the lot of everyone over $45,000, Albo's electorate stands to be a big loser if changes are made. It appears there'll be nothing in the October 25 budget about stage 3, but the interesting question is a simple one. Why is it so hard to say we will honour our election promise? There are good reasons why the government should. On the line, I have the Chief Executive of the National Employer Association, the industry group, Australian Industry Group, Innes Willox. Innes, thank you for your time. What is all this about?
Well, Alan, this is, as you said, stage 3, so it follows ipso facto. There have been 2 earlier stages in these tax cuts, and they were aimed at low and middle income earners. Stage 3 really impacts everyone. And the biggest impact is for people earning between $45,000 and $200,000. That's a big gap. But everyone earning in that range and above is way better off under these tax cuts. Now, the position that we take, Alan, is that these are good. These tax cuts, when they are meant to come in 2024, are good for fairness, they're good for investment, they're good for employment, and they're good for saving. And if we want to put more money into people's pockets overall, the nurses, teachers, police officers, factory workers, tradies, this is a sustainable way of doing it and something that has gone through 2 elections almost without. So that's why we think it's positive and it's fair.